G'day guys, Fitcho here and welcome back to my MotoGP 18 career mode. Today we're here for episode number 8 and the first race in the Moto3 season. We have graduated from the Red Bull Rookies Cup up into the big time now. We are riding on the Marinelli Snipers Honda for the Moto3 season. And now, just before we jump into the race weekend, we actually want to have a little look at the bike development tab. But before I do that, I just want to say, if I'm a little bit quieter in today's episode compared to normal, I do apologize for that. I am recording this at 12:49 a.m. on Monday morning. My parents are asleep, and obviously I don't want to wake them. I've got to stay up for the Canadian Grand Prix, which starts at 4 a.m. my time, the Formula 1 race. And then I'm busy all of tomorrow, so I need to get this episode done now while I've got a little bit of time, because I want to keep this series daily for you, and that does mean recording at 1 a.m, so I might be a little bit quiet, but nonetheless, we're going to push on and get this video done. Let's jump into the bike development and see what we have available to us. Looking up in the top right corner of the screen, we have a little spanner and a 0 next to it, so I'd say that means we have no development points or tokens or whatever you want to call them in this game. At the moment, we have 5 different areas: engine, brake, suspension, frame, and aerodynamics. Looking on the right hand side of the screen, you have those same 5 listed with slot 0 of 6 traction and power for the engine, modularity, aggression on the brakes, got there eventually, suspension, hydraulics, and elasticity, frame lean and stiffness, and aerodynamics, penetration, and downforce. We have 2 slots for the aerodynamics, and everything else looks like 6 except suspension, which looks like it is saying 5. I'm really not too sure how all of this works, so let's just jump into the engine and see what happens. So we have a few different levels that we can level up, and I would say that 3,905 is the amount of points or whatever we need. We currently have 0, so we can't do anything, but hopefully when we do jump into the first weekend at Qatar, we'll get some points and we can start upgrading our bike.
Good evening. We are broadcasting live from Qatar. The long weekend leading up to the Grand Prix at the Losail circuit is about to begin. Let's not waste any more time. The first round of free practice has already begun, and we're about to see the first riders getting on the track. As you can see, the weather here in Losail is living up to its excellent reputation, and the riders will be able to count on great weather for the entire duration of the session.
Right, we're here at Qatar at the Losail International Circuit, and as you can see, we're actually in the free practice session. I've switched over to a full race weekend so we can investigate this bike development, which we now have at our disposal. So let's see what we have in front of us as we head into the practice session, into the back of the Marinelli Snipers team garage for the first time in these brand new colors. Let's just continue and see what we have. We have a development test. Now this is what I'm interested in. We have a test, so description. The objective of this test is to collect data on the bike's behavior at top speed as well as its braking and cornering performance. You have 6 laps available to successfully pass all the objectives in the test. Once you have achieved all the objectives, you will be able to develop the bike's components. Objectives: pass the checkpoint with a speed equal or superior to that indicated, brake within the areas shown to successfully pass the deceleration checkpoints, ride staying as close as possible to the indicated trajectory. You have 6 laps available to successfully pass all the objectives. Stay under the lapse time limit. Okay, it all sounds fairly simple. Let's give it a go. We are on the track for the first time in Moto3 on our brand new Marinelli Snipers Honda. And I've actually changed the number on the front, of the color I should say, of the number from green to dark red because I couldn't quite read it, and we are doing this test. There we go, that's the first speed trap we have hit, and we have completed that very, very comfortably. I'm not too sure where all of them are around the track, but it looks like there's 5 on this opening lap, and I will say this is my first lap out in practice, so I'm still learning reference points around this Qatar circuit, so I'm not going to be ultra quick right now, but it doesn't look like the objective is all that hard, and here is the next one, and yet again, we're going to smash through that one, 11k over the target. Right, next objective, and we do that by 9 kilometers an hour over that objective, so it's all seeming fairly simple right now. Our lap time is nowhere near where it should be. We're almost 2 seconds down off Fabio Di Gianantonio's first time on the board so far, but we're not worried about the lap time just yet. That's tomorrow when we hit the qualifying sessions. That's another objective hit through that speed trap. And here is the final one, and we smashed through that one as well, 9k over, so that looks like it's all the speed traps done. But there were a few things about braking zones and stuff, so I assume On the next lap, maybe that'll start to come into it as we run a little bit wide. This hasn't been the best lap. I did have a little bit of a crash, I won't lie. Took a little bit too much curb and went down towards the end of the lap, so our lap time is miles off and you just want to ignore that. But we have passed the test. We achieved all of the targets and we got a total of 1,460 development points. I'm not sure what they're called, but we'll go with that. So that's a good start to this practice session. Right, we're back on track and we're moved across to the braking test now, so it's going to be interesting to see what this one exactly entails. The next objective in 300 meters, so I assume it's going to be just after this corner. I'm not 100% sure exactly what is going on here. We have a little thing here and we've done that perfectly, so I assume we just have to hit the brakes in that zone because that's what I did there, and it says it's perfect. So it looks like we have another one coming up at turn number 4. There's 5 of these all around the track, and this will actually help me learn the track and pick out some braking zones, and yet again we hit it perfectly. We do run a little bit deep, but I'm not too worried about that right now and the lap time. We just want to get these objectives ticked off the board. Right, here is the next objective right here, and we get that perfectly as we have Fabio Di Gianantonio there wanting to get past us. As like I said, we haven't really found our pace yet. I'm not looking for the pace yet. I'm just trying to get these objectives done. And he is trying to get past me, who's moving a little bit slowly. And now we have yet another one of these braking points. And we hit that perfectly. Only one more to go. Just 500 meters up the road as Fabio Di Gianantonio does find a way past me eventually. But I'm 3.3 seconds off the pace on this lap. Like I said, not pushing for pace just yet. And once we hit this braking zone, perfect as well. This should be this test done. We just need to round the final corner, cross the line, and we can tick off another one, get another load of points. Right, up to the line we come, and that should be the braking test completed. Yes, it is. We have passed that test. Perfect score there, a perfect 2,000. I think that's the max you can get looking at those results. Right, back on track here in this free practice 1 session, and we are on to the third and final test, and that is the trajectory test. So it looks like we have a little bit of a racing line and we just have to follow that down into the corner, and I'm not following it all that well. It'll be interesting to see how my results do go considering how much I am varying from it, as it looks like we have to complete a whole lap doing this. Oh, okay, that's not good. That is not good. That is not going to help our results in this test at all. Getting off the track there as Yumi Sasaki does get past us, as we have a little bit of a checkpoint there. I'm not 100% sure. But I'll just complete this lap and report back what exactly is going on at the end. Right, we're heading up to the line. It looks like we have ticked all 4 of the boxes so far on this trajectory test. And across the line we go, and we have completed our objective. 80% in the first checkpoint, we got 96%. 80% in the second, we got 95%. 85% in checkpoint 3, we got 92%, and 90% in the fourth, and we got 95%. Not 100% how that works. 100% sure how that works, I should say. I think it just sort of tracks where you are on track and how close you do stay to the racing line and how much time you spend on it and off it, and it sort of works out a percentage off that, and it sort of adds it up at 4 different checkpoints. But we have earned 3,024 development points off that, and I'd say that's going to bring practice to an end, and it's time to head to qualifying.
The engines are starting to roar and the riders are getting ready. The qualifying session is about to begin. They may not be able to count on the desert sun to heat up the asphalt, but the forecasts show that the riders can be sure of clear skies for the entire session.
We are here at the Losail International Circuit for today's qualifying session, and heading into this session, I really don't know where I stand. Of course, new bike, new team, new category, and a track that on past games I would have said I absolutely hate. I have ridden it a few times since picking up MotoGP 18, and it's growing on me a bit, I guess you could say. I don't hate it as much as I did in the past, but it's still not one of my preferred tracks, so this could make for quite an interesting session. Hopefully we can go out and get a decent result and achieve the team's objectives. That is the main goal for this session. What the fuck just happened there? I say go to track. Coming out of the pits in the start of the qualifying session, just go to a flying lap, and my bike's on the ground and I am face planting, that's what I'm looking for. But here we go, we are ready for qualifying. I am trying to turn my traction control off and make this corner, which is a real pain how I have to keep doing that every time I head to the track in a new session. But here we go, we're ready to get our qualifying run underway, and hopefully we can find a little bit of pace on this Honda in Moto3. Oh my... Oh, Niccolo Antonelli, what are you doing, mate? That got very, very scary. And that's this lap mostly in the bin, I would say, because I've not had the best run through turn number 1, as I've sort of had more of a panic attack in the braking zone. So he's just come straight across from the pits onto the racing line while I'm coming down to start a flying lap. But we'll push on nonetheless. My first lap is never my quickest. This is all just about learning the track, finding some reference points, and building up the pace. Can you not, Aaron Canet? I am on a flying lap here, and you're just being an absolute nonce to me. What a shock. You just came out of the pits, almost hit me off at turn number 1, and now you've hit me twice on my lap. But nonetheless, up to the line, we said 2:07.2, 1.4 seconds off Antonelli, just up ahead of us. Right, this has been a better lap. We've definitely found some time on our previous best, but it's still 9/10 of a second off at the end of Sector 3. And we set a 2:06.5, 1.2 seconds off the pace, and that is only good enough for 17th place on the grid at the moment. Oh, that's not going to help. Too much curb, and we are down, and that's it for qualifying. I don't think I can stand any more pushing around for lap time. This track, now that I've actually ridden it for lap time and not just for fun on this game, it's going back in the hate category. That is definitely for sure. I do not like this place one bit, and we're going to just end this session and get to the race so we can just get this weekend over with, because that's what I want to do right now, because I am not enjoying this track that much. I just want to get on to Argentina, but Jorge Martin has taken pole position with Enea Bastianini and Aaron Canet joining him on the front row of the grid. It is so nice to actually be racing against and seeing names that I do recognize. While the Red Bull Rookies Cup was a little bit of fun, I just didn't know any of the names. We've ended up actually dropping down to 21st place with John McPhee just pushing us outside of the top 20. I thought we were at least going to come home in the top 20, but we can't even manage that. And where is our teammate? I'm trying to remember who our teammate actually is on this bike. Let's just quickly look up this order. Right, our teammate Tony Arbolino is in 17th place, and we are in 21st, but we're only 0.2 of a second slower than our teammate on debut, so that's not that bad, but we were still out-qualified by our teammate, and we are down in 21st, so things haven't gone as I would have liked them to do so far here in Qatar, but hopefully we can do a little bit better in the race.
Greetings to all of our viewers from the peninsula of Qatar. The spotlights that light up the Losail circuit are on, and any moment now the Moto3 bikes will be revving their engines. We're looking forward to great weather for the race, and the riders' only worry will be the sand around the edges of the track.
We are here at the Losail International Circuit for today's Qatar Grand Prix, and it looks like a very nice night for racing. We're starting out of 21st place, not the first qualifying session that we particularly wanted in Moto3, but I always knew this weekend would be a bit tough, as it hasn't been my most favourite track on past games, to say the least, and it's still definitely not one of my favourite tracks on the game, but I think we have about 9 laps ahead of us in tonight's race, and hopefully we can put together a decent result. And tonight's race is actually very appropriate, because I'm recording this at 1:30 in the morning, so if I am a bit all over the place with the commentary and mix some things up, I do apologize for that, but I want to keep this series daily, and that means recording at 1:30 AM for you guys. I do some crazy stuff to get these videos out, but I hope you guys do enjoy this race nonetheless, because like I said, I'm recording this at 1:30, and if I accidentally wake my parents up, I'll get killed. But anyway, let's get into the race.
Here we are live from the Moto3 class starting grid, where riders and engineers are talking over the last few details before the race. The Qatar Motorcycle Grand Prix will start shortly here in Doha, and the riders are ready to compete on an amazing illuminated racetrack.
Here we go, it is race time here in Losail. We are ready for our first ever Moto3 race. The lights are on. And it's lights out, and away we go. The Qatar Grand Prix is underway, and it's been a decent start yet again by our stands, but still, we are going slightly backwards as Nicolo Bulliger gets a better start than us and gets past us as we head down towards turn number 1. We're going to go late on the brakes, too late on the brakes, in fact, as we go, ooh, we're getting pushed out wide there. I'm not too sure who that was. That was Jaume Massier as we head down into turn number 2, and we've fallen all the way back into stone dead last now as we have, I'm not even going to try to say that name. I don't want to try it, but we have Nakaran. Let's go with the first name just up ahead of us as we head down towards turn number 4 for the first time in this race, and we are struggling in the opening few corners, I should say. Oh my god, I thought we were about to have a big moment there, be flicked off the bike as we head down to the turn 6 hairpin, and this has not been the opening lap that we wanted, not the start to our Moto3 career that we wanted. We've fallen from 21st back to 29th on this opening lap, and we are struggling to keep up with the back of the pack while they keep squabbling. So when they start to sort things out, this could be really bad news for us if we can't find a nice rhythm. Right, we've actually hooked up this last sector quite nicely so far as we head down to the final corner to end lap number 1 of our first ever Moto3 race. And like I said, things have not gone to plan, but now we need to focus on the present. Look to repair the damage as we're going to get past Nakara, and as we head down the pit straight with a nice slipstream. Can we get past Alberto Arenas as well as we head down towards turn number 1 up into 27th place? We go up the inside of Jaume Massier and a little bit late on the brakes. We'll momentarily up the inside of, I think that is Nicolo Bulliger, but Jaume Massier has gotten back past us and he sent it in way too hot, but nonetheless we have made up 2 positions there at turn number 1, and the comeback is on. Jaume Massier up next. We head through turn number 3. Not the best run through there, and I don't think we're quite close enough to send one at turn number 4. We're just got to be patient for now. Oh, Jaume Massier is looking up the inside of Bulliger, forcing Bulliger very, very wide, but we are not quite close enough to capitalize from that as Bulliger goes back up the inside of Jaume Massier, and they are still going side by side. So much squabbling this far back in the pack on lap number 2 through turn number 7. I am struggling to speak. Like I said, I'm recording this at 1:30 AM, so I do apologize. I'm just trying to get this video out for you guys, keep this series regular for you guys, as I am quite busy tomorrow. But nonetheless, let's focus on the race. I have no need to talk about my real life here, as we've got Jaume Massier, Nicolo Bulliger just in front of us, who struggled to keep pace with them through sector number 2 on this second lap of this Qatar Grand Prix. Surprisingly enough, in the race, I'm finding myself actually quite quick through those fast right-handers in this final sector. That's where I found I was quite slow in qualifying, but I seem to have found my way through there, but I'm struggling with the rest of the track now. I'm not too sure. My pace is all over the place. But now onto the pit straight to end lap number 2. We are right in the slipstream of Jaume Massier as we head across the line to start the 3rd lap, and we get a nice run. And up his inside we go as now down towards turn number 1, very late on the brakes to the outside of Nicolo Bulliger. Now try to pull it back for a late apex, try to get a run, but we're not quite close enough to make something work on the young Italian. Is now down into turn number 2, trying to get a nice run off here, but we're just a little bit late on the throttle compared to the bikes in front of us, and that's cost us not the best run through there. We're just going to have to wait, work a little bit harder to catch back up, just close that small gap that has formed, then we can think about launching a move again on Bulliger. Again, a good run through that final sector, and we've caught back up to the back of Nicolo Bulliger. Is now down to the final corner we come, and onto the pit straight to end lap number 3 of 9 of this Qatar Grand Prix. Not the best run through that final corner we're going to get in the slipstream of Bulliger as we head up to the line. Look at the front of the field. Jorge Martin is leading from Canet, and Bastianini 88 from 44 from 33. Quite nice to look at as we now head down into turn number 1, and we weren't quite close enough to get enough of a slipstream from Bulliger to make any move there at the first corner, as he is fighting with someone. I'm not exactly too sure who these guys are towards the back of the field. Of course, the real life broadcasts of Moto3 very much focus on the front end of the field. I know most of these names, but I just don't necessarily know the name to the livery of the bike. I just noticed we've still got Alonso Lopez in this race. Of course, you'd expect him to be as a real-life Moto3 rider who is running at the number 72. I picked number 72 as my number, and I still have the number 72 on my bike. So there's actually 2 number 72s in this Moto3 field right now. That's a little bit strange. I just noticed it on the timing column. He's running in about 8th place right now. But there's 2 number 72s in the field. I'm surprised they haven't forced me to change number for my this Moto3 season, because my number is already taken. But at the moment we are just starting to lose touch with Nicolo Bulliger in 25th. We just have no pace here at Qatar. This is firmly back in the hate category in terms of tracks. This was my least favorite track on MotoGP 17. And with a few tracks I have properly ridden in career mode so far on MotoGP 18, it's still my least favourite track. To be fair, actually, the Sachsenring comes pretty close in terms of how much I hate them. This track and the Sachsenring Pro, my least favourite tracks on this game, by far those two. I cannot stand either of them. We saw how bad my Red Bull Rookies Cup race went there. I'm not looking forward to that round of the... Oh, that's a bit too much curb. I'm not looking forward to the Moto3 round there in the German Grand Prix, as much as I am hating this Qatar Grand Prix as Jaume Masia pounces on a scrappy last sector there, gets up our inside at the second last corner and takes 26th place from us. We are now back into 27th, which is second last. Oh, we've just lost those last two positions, and we're now back into last place as Alberto Arenas, and someone else has gotten past that. That is Nakaran Tirat Puvapat. Let's go with that. I do apologize for the absolute butchering of that pronunciation, but a nice run down the straight, and we get back up the inside and up the inside of... Oh, no, so heavy on the brakes. I was on the rear brake a little bit too late into the corner. I had it early on, and I dragged that rear brake too long. Rear end snapped on us, and we get flicked to Narnia, and we're in dead last. There's no point completing the next 4 laps, really. We're not going to get any points. There's nothing to recover from this race. I'm just going to give up here. Are you sure you want to retire from the race? You won't be ranked in the final results. Yes, I want to retire. Oh, that was a nightmare of a race. We actually get some prestige for that. I am genuinely surprised. 29th in last place, and we still got some prestige. And here are the final results. Jorge Martin has won the first round of the season with Aaron Canet and Marco Bezzecchi joining him on the podium. Enea Bastianini comes home in 4th with his teammate Lorenzo Della Porta just there in 5th. Fabio Di Gianantonio in 6th. Yumi Sasaki 7th. Nicolo Antonelli, who was my teammate when I did my career mode on MotoGP 17, of course. I went for the Red Bull KTM bike, and of course Nicolo Antonelli was still there that season. Of course, switching to a Honda this year, not exactly sure what team. Then Gabriel Rodrigo is in 9th, and who rounds out the top 10? That is Adam Norradine. And then there's us in 29th place, last place, plus 4 laps because we did end up retiring. Our best lap was a 207.2. Is anyone actually slower than a 207.207? A 207.207? Yeah, okay. I am reading that right. I just had a moment there. I wasn't 100% sure. And we actually are faster than a... No, don't go with the last name, Lachlan. You can't pronounce it. Nakaran, let's go with that. First name basis. We were quicker than him by 0.5 of a second on 1 lap, and we were quicker than Jaume Masia, although he spent most of the race caught up behind us. Anyone else slower than us? No, we were miles off Jorge Martin, though, who did a 205.0. 2.2 seconds off Jorge Martin. That is not really what we want. A lot of work ahead of us in this season, but I think Qatar is going to be a similar track to the Sachsenring for me in terms of results. So hopefully we can bounce back with a decent result in the next race at Argentina, which is a better race for me. Riders' Championship, of course. First round of the season, exactly the same as the race results, and we've gone backwards in reputation. That's not good. We've lost fans after today's race. That's not what we wanted, and one of their attributes actually did go up, which was brakes management. Ironic considering I crashed out for being a bit too heavy on the brakes and not managing them properly, and we didn't achieve our race objective, which was 13th. There was no way we were doing that. No way in hell, especially with that qualifying performance. And the team trust looks like it hasn't actually changed. We got 6,484 development points, so that is good, so I definitely want to investigate what I can do with that. So, even though we had a horrible weekend in Qatar, we've got 12,968 development points. So let's see what we can actually do with that, and where do we want to look at first. Let's just go with the engine. That's probably the easiest one to understand at the moment. We can level traction and power up. Each of them are about 4,000 development points or thereabouts. So let's see if we develop this. Are you sure you want to develop traction? Yes, I do. Now, let's go and develop power as well. Are you sure you want to develop power? Let's go with that as well. Cool. So we've got 2 developments done already. We've got 5,000 points left at our disposal. So what do we want to have a look at? I'm really not all that sure what the best thing to address right now is on the bike. We've only had 1 race. I'm not sure where I think I need to improve the bike. So we've done a little bit of engine, given us a little bit more power. And I guess maybe we have a little look at the brakes. We go with the modularity or the aggression on the brakes. I am not exactly sure. I guess aggression's going to help with some late braking and some aggressive moves, so let's go with that. I'm not 100% sure, I won't lie, but that's what we'll do so far. We've made 3 upgrades after the first race of the season, which is very, very nice, and if we keep getting that many points, we should be able to upgrade this bike nice and easily, but that is going to do it for today, guys. That was a shocker of a debut, the debut from hell, to say the least, and unfortunately I think every season is going to start on the back foot for me, with Qatar being the first round of the season, because I just don't suit the track. I don't gel with that track at all, and my pace was shocking, and I ended up binning it. Not what we wanted, but hopefully next time out, when we head to Argentina, we can have a much better race, and that video will be out same time tomorrow. Like I said, trying to keep this series daily. That's why I'm recording at a ridiculous time. It's currently 1:51 AM on a Monday morning. Only 2 hours to the Formula 1, so this works quite well to kill some time while I'm staying up till 4 AM. The crazy things I do for YouTube and Motorsport. But nonetheless, that is the end of today's video. If you guys did enjoy it, make sure you do leave a like. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you do subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.